Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Wanted to talk a bit today about what I would do if I either pre or post SHTF somehow lost my preps, my material preps. And this was a question that was posed to me by one of the commenters, and it looks like Irish, looks like he also hit up Irish with the same question. And so I thought I would, talk a bit about how I would deal with the grief and loss of having the best laid plans and then getting punched in the mouth, as Mike Tyson would say. So how do you deal with grief and loss? It's going to be a big, important thing, because not only, grief is not only a do with bereavement, the loss of life, it's also to do with the loss of anything, So how you cope with that stress is going to be sort of the defining factor between those who fail and those who succeed. It's going to require a certain degree of resilience in order to, accept your losses and move on. And there's a certain, whether pre or post SHTF, I can't really suggest to you what you should do. Irish talks a bit about how you should, immediately seek to procure in a post SHTF, seek to procure more material goods, more material preparations. And, in a lot of ways, I suppose, there's no disagreeing with that. Obviously, you want to do that in the most safest, innocuous way possible. In a pre-SHTF, if I was burglarized or I had a fire or, there was a flood that destroyed all of my preps that I've amassed thus far, it wouldn't be a total loss. It's never a total loss. For one, you still have all the knowledge and the awareness and the skills that went along with that material aspect of prepping. In a lot of ways, if I had to do it all over again, there's a lot of shit that I wouldn't even bother, taking the time to purchase and utilize. There's a saying in the movie Fight Club that sometimes the stuff you own starts owning you. And then there's another quote in that same movie that says, it's only when you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. So would I despair if all my preps were lost and either pre or post? No, because I don't despair now when I lose something. Yes, it's upsetting, and there's that period of grief. You have to go through those stages of grief. Denial, bargaining, anger, depression, acceptance. Although that's not the accepted model nowadays, or it's not accepted that people go through a stepwise gradation through those processes. But you're gonna have to just roll with the punches, man. I don't know what else to say. That's what I hope I would do. I mean, yeah, you could freak out and lose your shit, and you see it happen to some of these characters in these post-apocalyptic fiction. They lose somebody or something, and they lose their shit, and then they just end up losing more. So if you want to sort of cash in your chips, you're going to have to just kind of roll with the punches and accept that, yes, okay, You know, I had all that material preparation in place, all that food, all those supplies, perhaps all that ammunition and, you know, stuff, really, just stuff. You know, but you're going to have to let it go and move on. And sometimes it's a blessing in disguise to, you know, everything, I believe everything happens for a reason. And sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways and things work out exactly as they're supposed to. You know, we don't live for stuff. Stuff is supposed to keep us alive. That's something to keep in mind, is that don't despair about the loss of stuff. Despair about the loss of people, the loss of flesh and blood, because that is ultimately the most valuable thing in the known universe, is life itself. You know, we prep for life. We don't have a life to prep. So yeah, you know, if shit hits the fan and you get chased out of your house and all you got is your bug out bag, you know, don't look back. You know, there's a reason for it. Maybe that stuff, you know, would have got you killed. Who knows? I mean, everything happens for a reason, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And, you know, if it happens pre-SHTF, well, hopefully you have insurance. You know, I suppose that's a practical thing that every prepper should probably invest in, is insurance. Flood insurance, fire insurance, natural disaster insurance. Because it would be kind of stupid if you lost it all before something happened and you didn't take the initiative to safeguard your material preparations with some form of insurance. But that's how it is, man. That's the way of the road. You know, you get stuff, you lose stuff. Shit, I'm sure a lot of you guys have had stuff and just lost stuff. You know, shit happens. You can't let it bring you down. You're going to end up like Rick, chasing around the ghost of Lori while the whole group is Rick from The Walking Dead, while the whole group is in shambles and looking for leadership and guidance, and this guy's running around chasing hallucinations because he can't get over the grief and the loss. So if I lost all my preps, I would try to view it as optimistically as possible. I would try to recognize that there's a lining to every silver lining to every dark cloud. Sometimes it's hard to see it, you know. But there would be a certain freedom for me in losing it all, you know, and that's doesn't mean I would want to lose it all. Nobody wants to lose it all. But I always think back to that quote, you know, you're free to do anything when you've been unburdened materially. You're free. So a lot of people say, oh yeah, you're free to die. You know, well, if that's the way you look at it, then that's the sort of pessimism that's going to contribute to your failure if it ever does happen. You may as well try to be as optimistic as possible, because pouting, bitching, moaning, crying about it is not going to bring anything back. It's gone. It's finished. The less you dwell on it, the better. And that's why I just, you know, as a counselor, I have to sympathize with, you know, people's grief, essentially. But, you know, what I don't condone is dwelling in it, is who's living in it. You know, some people, when they're given shit, they roll around in it, and they like to smell it, and they like to cry about how they're covered in shit. You know, what other people do is they take that shit and they go and they find a seed, and they use that shit as fertilizer. It's like there's a Chinese term, I can't remember which word it is, but it's a word which represents at once both crisis and opportunity. That crisis, and believe you me, the powers that be know this full well, that you never let a good crisis go to waste. Crisis is opportunity. What did you learn from that experience? There's always lessons to be learned. There's always something to be taken away, even if it's just a small morsel by comparison to what you once had. What you do with that seed, you know, what you do with that seed can make all the difference. You know, maybe, you know, like I say, sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. Like, you know, shit, maybe you got a flat tire while you're on the highway, and had you kept going and never got that flat tire, which sucks, you would have hit a deer that would have hit across the road at a certain time. You know, you never know what's. I don't know if that really, you know, communicates what I'm trying to say, but I'm just trying to say that sometimes shit happens before really bad shit happens. I mean, better your preps than you. You know, better you lose all your preps than to even lose one limb, one finger. You know, I wouldn't trade one of my fingers for all my preps. My finger is more valuable. My health is more valuable. So I don't know if I'm making any sense. Maybe I'm just rambling on, but I got some time to kill here on the way home, so, you know, it's time well spent. It's time well wasted. As a side note, and a totally unrelated topic, maybe I'll just do this as another video, just to do it justice. Yeah, I am going to do it as another video. Alright, Canadian Prepper out.